they felt powerless when the Prime Minister made what they seem to think were probably wrong decisions, but they just felt that, I think Imran Shafi said, as a junior official, what could I really do?
Look, a lot of people listening to these back and forth WhatsApp messages about the chaos, about Boris Johnson making it impossible to govern, would suggest that, that looks very bad. It's very unusual. Is it unusual inside government?
When I was in government, we didn't have anything like WhatsApp, and we undoubtedly would have had conversations in a corridor where we might have said, what on earth do they think they're doing? Are we really doing that? And things like that. But it does seem to me some of the things that seem very odd, and I think this is particularly about Simon Case, the cabinet secretary, was brought back from the palace where he's working with Prince William as permanent secretary at number 10 to try and get a bit of a grip on COVID. I think one of the things that strikes people as civil servants is the very casual way he's chatting with two of the political aides, Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane. Remember, we also saw all those quite indiscreet Simon Case WhatsApps with Matt Hancock earlier. They've not emerged in the inquiry so far, but they did emerge in Matt Hancock's book. And I think that sort of tone is very odd. The other thing that just comes out is just the sheer desperation of the aides of getting the Prime Minister to focus, to make a decision, to stick with decisions that he has made. And I think, this is one of the sort of revelations. This is just how difficult it was and how much effort in number 10 had to go into managing the Prime Minister. And also from the evidence we had yesterday from Martin Reynolds and Imran Shafi, just, that, ultimately they felt powerless when the Prime Minister made what they seem to think were probably wrong decisions, but they just felt that, I think Imran Shafi said, as a junior official, what could I really do?
And that's the bigger point here in all of this. I mean, it may well be sort of interesting to see behind the scenes into those WhatsApp conversations. But the big question is, in someone like Simon Case's position, should he have been able to rein in some of the worst of what we are now seeing? Does he have the power? And if he does, why didn't he use it to stop this kind of thing from happening?
Well, it's very difficult because ultimately the power all does rest with the Prime Minister. Civil servants work for the government of the day. The government of the day is headed by the Prime Minister. It's one reason why quite a lot of people, when they feel decisions going seriously wrong, resort to leaks, which I think is really unfortunate. I've actually written something, I wrote something late last year for the Institute for Government saying that in very extreme circumstances, if civil servants feel that ministers doing something that really is very harmful to the public interest, they should be able to raise an alarm, more formally, and just force ministers to put those decisions on the record. Whether you do that at the heat of a crisis where you're also trying to maintain public confidence, I think is a very difficult question, but there's really no legitimate route. The more junior civil servants, they could raise things. If I'm a junior private secretary number 10, I can tell the principal private secretary I'm very concerned about the way things are going. If I'm the principal private secretary at number 10, I can go to the cabinet secretary. But ultimately, if the Prime Minister's not going to listen to the cabinet secretary, not going to take his advice, then there are real limits on what the civil service could do.
Yeah.
What you do hope in those circumstances is that the Prime Minister's political colleagues will start to think, actually, are we governing well? Do we need to do something?
And we'll hear more on that today, no doubt. Jill, in a word, should Simon Case be still in a job?
It's a matter at the moment for Simon Case and the Prime Minister.